Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Monkey Wrench. I'm Kelly, the monkey with the wrench, and today we're teaching poodles how to fly. If you know what movie that's from, write it in the comments. It's from one of my favorite movies. Today we are working on this Husqvarna. People seem to like these. Back in the 80s, Husqvarna was a great brand, but today Husqvarna is just the name of the body that it's put on, and they get Briggs & Stratton motors. And Briggs are my favorite to work on. So this machine belongs to a customer, and he dropped it off yesterday and sent me a text and said he loaned it to his brother, and all of a sudden the drive stopped working and he didn't know why. So he wants to see if I can fix it. Sorry, I'm fixing the tripod legs. So basically, it needs an oil change, and the fuel is out of it. When you flip these up on the side, remember that in most cases, if you get in the habit, you want the carburetor to face up when you flip it over. But in this case, I drained the oil and the gas before I even got started. So we're gonna flip it up here, and I'm going to show you why the drive system on this machine doesn't work. Now, he brought this to me a couple of months back, and the belt was no good, and it needed a new drive cable as well. So we put a new drive cable on it and put a new belt on, and as you can see underneath of this wonderful Husqvarna machine, there are no guides. There should be a guide that goes across here up to the shaft all the way around to keep dirt and dust and debris from getting all over the bottom side of the mower. However, this one either didn't come with it or it's just no longer there. So what we have here, see if I can get you a better view. What we have here for the drive belt, for the drive system, around the shaft, this is the shaft that comes out of the motor. There's a pulley on said shaft, and the belt goes around the pulley, and when you pull the cable, it tightens the belt, and there is a series of 3 pulleys right here. And this one is completely missing. When I try to turn that with my hand, it's real tight. It does not want to turn. And the same thing with this one over here. This one does not want to turn at all. And this one barely wants to turn. When I'm turning it and I'm feeling something's binding it up, something's clicking in there. What happens is that you get dirt and dust and water and crap just like this up around. There's a bearing. That's what this is. It's a bearing in the center right here that the bolt goes through, and that allows the pulley to spin on the bearing. So they get full of dirt and dust and crap, and if you don't pull them over, pull them off and clean them, then they get all jammed up. They don't want to turn, and then they'll get hot. This one won't even really turn in my hand very well. So as the belt tries to turn it and it doesn't turn, it gets real hot, and they can break, they can crack, and in this case the whole thing busted off. Behind there I can see the plastic still. This just completely busted off. These 3 are no good, so I'm gonna go grab some tools and bring you back, and we're gonna pull them apart and I'll show you what they look like. All right, now in this case these are held on in the center by star drives, okay, and this happens to be a T27. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 2 of these pulleys are supposed to be identical and 1 is off, meaning a different size, but I'm not positive on that. But we're just going to pull these pulleys off. You see how, let me see if I can get that into the camera. You see how that's all worn? What happened here was this pulley probably seized up. Like I said, I can barely turn that. And the motor is so powerful that it was still pulling the pulley, just like I'm pulling it. You see how it'll turn that one? This one stopped turning, okay? And it just wore a flat spot right across there. And it wore this one so much that it got so hot it probably exploded off of there. And let's see what this one looks like. And don't worry about me turning the blade with my hand. Like I said, there's no fuel in it, so it won't accidentally start. You take that out. Again, it's just a star drive bolt. And that is the actual bearing. You can see the plastic still on it from where the entire pulley just came off. The bearing filled with dirt, I'm sure. Maybe he was cutting on a wet day. It just got full of dirt and stopped spinning. Now this one, it's definitely not salvageable because this has all been burned off by having the belt sliding across it at 3,000 RPMs per second. So it has to be replaced. Don't lose your bolts. This one has to be replaced. There's nothing left. Let's see what shape the last one's in. And the bad news about this whole thing is that because this belt was being drug across that plastic pulley, this belt is no good anymore. And this belt was new. This is, when I fixed this the last time, I told him that one of the pulleys was feeling wonky, and that it probably needed to be replaced. He didn't have a lot of money. He didn't opt to go that way, so I took these off, I oiled them, and I put them back on. This one, yeah, there are 3 different ones. Okay, so this one here, you can see in there, has a very small diameter as opposed to that one there, which has a large diameter. That's why this pulley goes on here and it fits on there. Okay, if you just tried to put your bolt through that big hole, you can see that wouldn't work. So they are 2 different style pulleys. Whether they're all the same diameter, when I put these together, it looks like the same diameter. And this one is worn through as well. You can see that that's all screwed up. That one was the last one to go. This one still spun a little bit. As you saw when I pulled on the belt, it still spun on there a little bit. So that's the last one to go, but all 3 of these pulleys need to be replaced. There's no 2 ways around it. Now, again, they're supposed to be, if I remember correctly, they're supposed to be plastic that goes all the way around there, that keeps everything you're cutting from just going up into those pulleys. Now, I've only dealt with this mower once or twice in the last 2 years, and I don't remember there ever being plastic. I don't lose plastic or throw plastic away or forget to put it back on. So by the time it got to me, there was no plastic there. But as I look around, I don't really see anywhere where another set of plastics would bolt in place, unless you would pull out the bolts that hold this powder sleeve and maybe it all goes together. But I don't see any places for anything to clip in. I don't see anything like that. I can look this up online and find out for myself if there is something, but for right now, pulleys are going to have to be replaced. I'm going to take this in the shop and try and spray some oil in there just to see if I can get that to spin a little bit better. But basically, when you come across this problem, there's not even a bearing in this one. This one just slides on this slug right here. So if you don't oil that on a regular basis, you're going to have issues. And it's just that easy. If you pull that one off, you oil it. We should be able to do the same thing with this one. Let's take it in the shop and see what we can find. Okay, this one is the one that's all covered in dirt and dust and mud, and it's just caked on there and messed up. But when I take my fingers and squeeze the bearing in the center, keep my thumb on that part of the bearing and keep my finger on that part of the bearing and squeeze it, I can sort of spin that. Okay, it's not spinning very easily, but it does still spin. Now we got to replace it, but I want to show you that if we put a little bit of oil in there, which in a case where there's no plastics on, probably should be done every month if you're using this thing, and we spin it, I just want to see if it will sort of come back to life. Now I'm squeezing both sides of that bearing and spinning it, and it's spinning but not very freely. So this one's probably just gotten so hot that it melted on there. Really what needs to happen is if you go ahead and pull these off, and you saw how easy it was to get them off, if you just pull those off and stick them in like a Tupperware container with some gasoline in it, you're not going to hurt the plastic, but the gasoline will kind of soak in there and clean out any dirt and whatnot. And then you spin it with your fingers and see if you can loosen it up, free it up, work with it, clean it out, soak it some more, then oil it. You should be able to bring them back. But in this case, we have to replace them anyway. Both of the pulleys that are still, you know, in sort of one piece are so worn that there's no saving them. And that one's even worse. I can show you, it just made a hot groove right into that pulley. You see how it would be normally up there, and then you turn it and it's just toast. And that also means that that new belt that we just put on a few months ago is going to need to be replaced again as well. So I'm going to post this video because this is for a customer, and he's going to want to know why it's going to cost him money to fix this thing. Unfortunately, if I remember correctly, the belt was somewhere around 20 bucks, and he's going to have to put another belt on. It's just the nature of the game. It's a design flaw. It's not my fault. And he's going to have to replace those pulleys. And I looked online just for a quick view. The pulleys run between 10 and 15 bucks a piece. I saw a set from Briggs & Stratton, OEM parts, original manufactured parts, and I want to say it was like 56 bucks for the 3 pulleys. You could buy them aftermarket for $10 to $15 a piece, depending on what you find. And I know if I go to the local parts store, they always charge twice what the internet charges. So you're going to have to look up those machine parts. This, if I can get in there and show you, and I'm not going to be able to because of the sun. Let's see. If the tripod would close, I would be much happier. That's the number on this particular machine. There we go. The product number, the LCC221A, that's the model number. And on these machines, when they have the plastic carburetors, they usually put the model number sticker somewhere on the body. You have to look here for the Briggs & Stratton engine serial number, and basically you can just look this up. You can just punch in to Amazon LC221A drive pulleys, and they'll come up. They're just a pulley. You may even be able to get them from your local Tractor Supply if there's one in your area, because I think I remember seeing Tractor Supply might have these because they're Husqvarna. It seems to me that certain stores carry certain parts for certain machines, and Tractor Supply likes to be known for Husqvarna, but it's all the same crap as Walmart. Anyway, if you don't like that, tell me so in the comments. I'm gonna post this video, and I will put up a part 2 if he decides to put another $100 into this machine. You know, between the parts and the belt, he's probably looking at about 70 bucks for the parts and $30 to put them on. So if he wants to put $100 into the machine, so be it. I'll let him know, and if he does, when we do the repair, it'll be a short video. I'll post the part 2, the actual fix. At least now you know what to look for and what's going on. Thanks for stopping by. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't already. Subscribe on your way out the door. It's free and it helps me a lot. I've gotten some really good videos with a lot of views lately, and I appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by. See you soon. Okay, so you'll have to forgive me. It's been about a week since I did the first portion of this video. Took a little while for the customer to come here and get the money and decide to do the job. So what we have here are your 3 pulleys. And basically what we have, sorry, forgot to take that off. Basically what we have, like I said, 2 of one style pulley and 1 of the other. So you'll see that these 2 are the same, and the back side has the major portion of the bearing, okay? And this one is different. The inside circumference is different. The part numbers are 587973001, and you need 2 of those. That's for these. And 587969201, and that's for the one with the larger inner diameter. And the other thing that I want to show you real quickly is how this one goes on. Now you won't be able to mess it up, okay, because you'll be able to see, you see the big circumference here, that's for the back side of the pulley. So I'll show you that in a minute. But this right here is a big slug. It's a big sleeve that sticks out, and that's why this pulley has to have a larger diameter. Now if you look here, you'll see what looks like 2 rings. One of them is the slug itself, and then the other portion is the outside pulley, okay? And here's the issue. You must have, in the very least, another washer, and I'll tell you why. Because if you don't have the washer in there and you just go to put the original nut back in, it's the same diameter as the outer ring, or the ring that's on the pulley, and when you tighten it down, you'll tighten it against the pulley and the pulley won't be able to move. So what you need in there is a spacer that is smaller than the silver ring on here, the same size as that silver ring. So in other words, you need it to be the same size as the slug, so that that goes against it. Let me get this on here. You can kind of see it better. Okay, I have a washer in there, and you see how the washer is smaller than the bolt itself, and that way when I tighten it up, which is easy peasy, when you can see what the hell you're doing, and that way when I tighten it up, come on, why does nothing want to go right when you have a camera running? This is a stupid problem to have. The stupid bolt doesn't want to go in there, and I can't just use the gun or it'll cross thread it. And I can't pause it and bring you back, because as soon as I put the camera down, it'll go in. But I don't know why it doesn't want to go in. Fine. Okay, I think there might have been just something stuck in there, some piece of dirt or something. And again, working with these old hands. So let's try this again. Maybe the end of the thread is just a little bit messed up. There it goes. Just kind of had to force it in the beginning. I don't know why. But anyway, with that screw in place, it acts as a spacer. You can tighten that up all the way, and the pulley will still spin correctly. And that's what you want. So as long as you remember, if you don't have a washer, to get one to act as a spacer, you'll be fine. The pulley can move up and down just a tad bit the way it's supposed to, and everything spins. So now you're going to make sure that your belt is around your lawnmower shaft here. It goes up here around the top one, which I've got to grab. All the bolts are the same, so you don't have to worry about getting those mixed up. And it's been a while since I've taken this off. See, the back side of the pulley here has this big wide portion, and the front side is smaller. When the bolt goes on, it fits around the silver portion perfectly. So you put the wider slug portion to the back, put your screw in. I'm going to kind of feed the belt up while I put this one back in. And again, it's been a while since I pulled it apart, and when I got it, the pulley was broken, the belt was off. So I'm guessing at how to put this back on. But usually it's not that difficult to figure out. So as long as we're on at the bottom and we're on here, now see, that's not going to work. So I must have the pulleys incorrect, or I must have the belt fed through the pulleys incorrectly. So give me a second to find a diagram. Well, nobody's perfect, and that's what the internet's for. So if you ever get stumped, look it up. It's not that hard to look up. Like I said, the pulley was broken, the belt was off when I got it, and I was trying to go in the wrong direcciones. The wrong direction here. So I got to pull this pulley back off real quick because I fed the belt through. I should have known by the belt guides where they're positioned. Usually gives you an idea of where stuff goes, but I didn't look. That was my fault. This goes here, this goes here, and I like to feed the belt through when I'm putting the pulley back on. Just makes life a little bit easier. And this one I'll have to come back off. Well, let's see. It goes like that, and that one goes around there. And then this and here goes here. So let me take this one back off. I sure hope this thing's recording. Alright. Now we can put that back in place. This belt guide goes between these two. This one goes between these two. And this goes underneath here. It would help if I was on the pulley, wouldn't it? Just like that. Now it's supposed to be a little bit loose when it's not in use. Make sure these are all good and tight. And make sure that they spin. I don't expect them to spin wildly like a top because the belt is dragging on them. But make sure that they spin. And you should be good. Now I can put the blade back on. If you don't know the blades, one side is the cutting edge and one side is the lift on it. The lift always goes up towards the top, up above the air, the sky. And if the cutting blade is facing you on the right side, you know you're putting the blade on right. So let's go ahead. You don't know how many machines that I get in here on a weekly basis, and the blades are on upside down. People don't know what I do with my socket. People they don't look at the old belt the old blade when they take it off, and they just put the blade on, and then they're on upside down. Make sure that's set properly. Our pulleys are spinning. Our belt has some space. We'll see. It may have wrecked the old belt. I'll know here in a minute. If the belt got stretched or wrecked when the pulleys got broken, it'll need to be replaced, and I'll tack that onto this video. But I'm gonna stand this thing up, put some gas in it, fire it up, see if the drive system works now. Now you won't really be able to hear me when I fire this thing up, so all I want to do is fire it up and make sure that the drive system is working. So I'm just gonna pull the handle and see if she'll go. I can't really show you the wheel spinning because it's a four-wheel drive system. All four wheels turn, but it's turning. The drive is good. The pulleys have been replaced. Everything under there is brand new, and this thing's ready to go back into service. So thanks for stopping by. If you haven't already, hit the like button. It's somewhere between my chin and my balls, right there. We are almost at 800 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button for me if you stuck around this long. I appreciate it. And help me reach 50,000 views on that one video. We're close. So thanks for stopping by. This again was that Husqvarna 675 EXI, the LC 221A model. It's actually a pretty good machine. Good Briggs motor. Anyway, thanks for coming by. See you soon.